Hey, this is Toby. I'm still playing around with PLC Next. So the other day if you're on my LinkedIn, I complained because I faulted the PLC. Well, how do I know that my PLC is faulting? Da-da-da. Well, I knew it was faulting because I got the angry red blinky light there, and then the D display was going totally amber, right? So, and then of course you could sit there and look at it and nothing was happening, and common sense starts kicking in. Anyway, so what I have discovered by faulting it a few more times is that I'm doing a few things wrong. So if you understand the PLC Next memory allocation, then you are dependent on the SD card, and then it has a specific file allocation. This includes the boot process, so the only fault that I'm talking about right now is on the boot. So I don't know specifically what I did because the log is like online, and you can't go online when it won't let you online when it's faulted like that. So, but I know what I was doing ahead of time, and I was trying to get Node-RED to work, and I loaded this guy after I had already put this on here. Well, if you go to the store and you read, it says the versions and stuff that they're built for. With this one right here, this was an older version, so the IoT framework demo Node-RED replaced the Node-RED PLC Next arm. So, little things like that, if you're trying to run it at the same time, you may run into issues. Or at least I did. When you check it out, it may be different for you. The other thing I noticed, or the other activity that was going on when I created a boot fault, was I was trying to update the GDS. Whoop. Let's get back here. I was trying to update GDS port allocations, I guess, or port assignments. And this is under the GDS port list, and it's part of the controller. And that's something to understand too. It goes back to when you actually make your declaration, and if you're local or if you're, an import and outport, how you're using your declarations in the program, but then also how they're mapped, because it has the capacity to be used in a container like with the Docker and go outside of the PLC itself. So you need to understand how your tags are going to be used in order to declare them properly, and that relates back to how your PLC is set up in memory. So anyway, I got a mismatch on this. I had a warning in the log and had an idea that there was a problem. Tried to download it anyway. It downloads it, and then it says, I don't like you. So, typical software stuff going on. Recovery. I don't know. Most of you guys that have been playing with PLC Next for a while, you know that you can slip this little piece of paper out, or lack of better terms, it's not really paper, it's kind of different, it's water resistant. Or it feels water resistant. Anyway, so if I remove the cover and I push in the reset, I can get my lights to go back to normal, right? On most occasions, when I have a boot problem and I've got a big red and an orange, it doesn't seem to work that way. I found a note online that said, hey, go here and it'll show you how to do a hard reset. Well, the link didn't work, so I made a guess, and I held the reset in while I powered back up. And it works. I'm gonna use it unless PLC, unless Phoenix Contact tells me otherwise. However, the caveat is when you do that, everything goes back to factory defaults. And sometimes it works with the SD card in, and sometimes I've had to take the SD card out. So those are things to keep in mind. Anyway, all this could probably go a lot smoother if I read the manual, did the directions. Instead of just investigating it based on it's a piece of hardware and let's see if I can figure it out. So I'm kind of reverse engineering, which makes it more challenging, but at the same time, that's the way I learn. I learn from making mistakes. So let's do, I think that's all I did on there. So if we go back here, so what I was talking about with the memory allocations in the GDS port list, and if you look at the notification logger, then when you get a mismatch on the GDS, it will show you here as a warning. It also has trouble when you try to compile and download, but it will let you compile, and you may not notice there's a problem until you download. So that's been rather interesting for me. I'm not going to go into the memory allocation right now on the output and import because I have brought up their example program and I need to walk through it and understand how they're doing their allocation. And to me, it goes back to understanding every place that you can have your parameters. So you got the GDS port list, you got online parameters, which that's not where I wanted to go. And then you have the data list. So I know that heater is in the GDS port list. It's an HMI tag, so it's declared there as well. Yeah, so these are things that I need to work out in my head as far as how they are, how the proper way is to declare a variable and to assign it. So HMI tag, variable for the PLC, in the data list, and then you have the GDS port list. Okay, so keep that in mind. And if I come over here, let's do drain. And if we do a cross-reference all, if it will let us, alright, it's not gonna let me cross-reference it there. Okay, there we go. So locate cross-references. And this is interesting to me because, well, this is gonna be everything. But this is what I want to go through and understand the usage, and then the kind, and the type, and the access, and the location. Because that will alleviate me getting red blinky lights. And it will also make me able to program this better later. Yeah, so those are things that, because here's the, alright, so here's the location for a data list pointing back to the hardware. What I was trying to find is pointing back to the actual, yeah, pointing back here to the GDS port. You see how the correlation is with, Oh, well, there it goes. It shows me that. But I'm still on cross references. That's not the GDS part. Okay. Yeah, so I want to find where these are showing up on the other side of the PLC, so to speak. You know, if you think there's 2 or 3 places that one tag can show up, then you got to understand, understand that so that you know where to point things. So, anyway, so that's what I'm going to be working on with this. I was able to get Node-RED working before, but now I got to start again because I had to reboot. So, and just to give you an idea, when you do a cold boot or a start from the beginning, when you log on to your default IP address, it shows up there back at 192.168.1 and 10. And then they give you this beautiful backdrop about enhancing your automation thinking. So that way you know that you've actually got your hard reset done. Anyway, all right, I gotta work on my tags and finish learning PLC Next. It's been a Toby Talking Tech. Thank you.